I'm here with Chapman and Ann Handley, authors of Content Rules. We just followed up with a seminar with edSocialMedia about content rules. What are 2 or 3 rules that you think schools should take away from your book?
Well, the biggest one that comes to mind for me is our rule of be human. And what I mean by that is one of the things that most schools seem to want to keep tight-knit is the way people say things, the way they describe the campus or the way they describe the program, and they want to use it in the marketing speak. And I think let the students tell it the way they want to tell it. Let the parents explain why they sent their kids there, or the alumni what they got out of the school. And by letting them talk in their own voice and letting them speak in a human voice is the key thing that I think most schools and most companies too, it's not just schools, are scared of letting go a little bit and letting that happen. So that's the biggest rule I think of for them.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess for me, the one that I think about is one of the most fundamental rules I think in the book, which is share or solve, don't shill. And that's a big issue. Speaking as a parent who just went through this a year ago, right? My son is in college, just finishing up his freshman year right now, and it was really hard to find good information from colleges that sort of helped us through that process, and not just about come to this school because we have the best art programs because he's an artist, but more about just some of the other problems can you help us sort of go step through, how do we apply, how do we figure out what to do with this stuff in the summertime, just stuff like that is just really helpful, I think, for parents. So really focusing on, sharing resources with parents, solving problems for, when you're trying to make that huge decision, which is huger than buying a car. It's, practically like buying a house. So just kind of helping parents and students walk through that process.
And let's face it, right? I mean, every college is going to have the guidebooks and the brochures and the pretty website, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have that. So that's the level playing field. But if a school started creating more content that was actually engaging and informative, they're going to stand out. They're going to be like, oh wait, well that school has that. So I think it's one of those things where content of any sort that's more personal and answers a question, speaks in a direct voice, I mean all those things I think will stand out above and beyond any other school. Because everybody else has got the same stuff you do. What can you do to be unique to stand out to the students and parents?
Right, exactly. And actually a good example of that is, so my son ended up at the Maryland Institute College of Art, right, as a freshman. And I wrote about this a couple of times about their content marketing, and what they did is they produced this whole guidebook, how to choose an art school. It wasn't about why you should come to MICA, it was about how to choose an art school, and that was actually really valuable for both of us.
It's really smart, and what would be funny is if other schools could have done that, how to pick the best business school, or how to do that. I mean, there's so many things you can do, and it doesn't directly sell you, but of course you make sure that you hit all those points.
Right, and guess what? That was the only piece of collateral that I ever found next to his bed, right? So I mean, nothing ever made it as far as the bedroom. Everything else was kind of left on the kitchen counter for me to deal with. This is the first one that reached him.
Perfect.
And ultimately, he's the consumer, right? So.
Yeah.